In this video, we're going to be expanding on the Floodborn exploration concept and looking at Ruby Amethyst's version of what I call Floodborn Lore Drain. Not only are you still utilizing the Honest John at a 3-drop uninkable 2/3, you're also utilizing the inkable 2-costing 1/1 blue fairy that has evasive, and both of these cards have effects whenever you play a Floodborn character. The Honest John makes your opponent lose a lore, and the blue fairy allows you to draw. So, looking at the deck list in its entirety, you can see that it looks like a fairly standard Ruby Amethyst list. You've got your Merlin Mint packages, but you notice that Merlin Rabbit is missing. The uninkability of that card and the fact that it costs 4 is kind of awkward in this deck, and I think that if you get the blue fairy up, it's going to be drawing you cards as you need anyways. Also, when you're using the Mim cards, there are just better utility to bounce rather than trying to bounce Merlin to draw, and in my opinion, bouncing back a Lady Tremaine, Elsa, those things are really high value. Even things like Maleficent and Aladdin can get you value by draining lore and or drawing cards, and of course bouncing back the Lady Tremaine, the smaller one, Matriarch, allows you to drain lore from your opponent as well. So there's still a lot of lore drain in this deck, more so than the Ruby Steel one that I posted earlier. And overall, I really like this list. I played about 5 matches with it and I haven't lost a single one. Our Floodborn targets are just 15, so down from 20 that you could play in Steel, because Steel has better Floodborn targets in like Tinkerbell and stuff. But Ruby still uses the Queen of Hearts, Lady Tremaine, and now we're able to utilize Aladdin, because the only real way you want to use Aladdin, in my opinion, is with Pocket Watch, which is what we can do here with the Amethyst package. And the reason is because you want to be able to maybe drop Elsa, exert stuff next turn. As those characters stay exerted, you can drop Aladdin, and you already have the 8 ink because you played Elsa the turn before. Pocket Watch the Aladdin for 1. That's a total of 8 ink. Then Aladdin can take something out, drain 2 lore from your opponent, and you gain 2 lore. So Aladdin has a lot of utility. No shield to restand the Aladdin, no LeFous, so you could maybe play around with this list if you really want. Ruby Amethyst control in set 1 was, in my opinion, really focused around this Aladdin package, but in set 2 you are playing faster. Now you are also utilizing 3 Yzma. This is really beneficial because you can Yzma away anything and draw 2 for yourself, or Yzma away a big opponent's threat, but that will give them a draw 2. However, if you play Yzma with the blue fairy up, you'll be drawing a card anyway, so Yzma, just like when you Yzma away a rabbit, you are able to draw 3 if you have blue fairy in play. So you can see kind of how the deck works. We're not really going too heavy on the smaller shift targets like Lady Tremaine, Queen of Hearts, Aladdin. They're just kind of there as utility cards. The Queen of Hearts shift can be very devastating, allowing you to draw a lot of cards, but the Aladdin is nice to recycle sometimes with the Mim Fox, the Street Rat version, or the Mim Snake, and same with the Lady Tremaine. As far as your actions go, you just got 4 Teeth and Ambitions to help manage the early game, 4 Friends on the other side, and 3 Be Prepared. You could up this to 4 Be Prepared if you want, but because you are locking things down with Elsa, taking them out with Aladdin, and you have Maui's, you may not need that. Our total uninkable count is 14, and our inkable count is 48, so it is 62 cards. You can opt to cut 2 things if you want, or change around the deck list, but this is how I opted to run it. Let's go ahead and take a look at some matches and see how the deck performed. So if you've made it this far in the video, I highly recommend you watch these next 2 matches, because what you're about to see is absolutely insane in my opinion. And this was originally just thought of as like a mid-tier casual deck, but I honestly might think that teching in some of these Floodborn trigger cards might actually be kind of meta relevant. So we're going second against Amber Amethyst Aggro, and this deck, when it goes first, is really hard to stop because they have tempo. They just get too far ahead too quickly, and you just can't deal with their board fast enough. So my opponent here on turn 3, after double questing with 2 Maleficents, I take 1 out. They protect the second one by Mim Foxing it back to hand and passing turn, and we just can't deal with the board fast enough. We're going to be able to ink the Minnie Mouse though and play the Aladdin for our first lore drain, so we claw back 1 there, which is nice. The opponent then drops a Maleficent, quest with the Fox, going back up to 4, and then dropping an Arthur on top of that, sorry. And now I'm in trouble because I can't deal with this board still. They're going to go up to 9. They're going to gain 5 lore next turn, just because there's nothing I can do early enough to deal with this board. Unless I drew a Teeth and Ambitions and maybe would have been able to out the Maleficent. But yeah, they have a Merlin Rabbit as follow-up anyways. They're going to start drawing cards as they normally do with the Amethyst packages. And just like I said, they're going to get up to 9 lore between Arthur and Maleficent and be able to protect the Maleficent, favoring not to drop it, but we did play our Honest John last turn. Now, when we play this Queen of Hearts, this is the second lore that we've drained, one off the Aladdin, one off the Queen of Hearts. And now with Queen of Hearts on the field, we're going to be able to take out this Arthur by double challenging it with the Aladdin and the Honest John. And we're able to draw 2 because the Queen of Hearts is on field. Now, my opponent makes a critical misplay here, probably just not paying any mind to it. They just probably think, well, I'm going to win the game anyways. I'm so far ahead in Quest. And in lore, I'm just going to Quest with the Rabbit instead of taking out that Honest John. So now that the Honest John gets readied back up, I am going to definitely make sure it stays protected. So we Mim Fox back the Aladdin, and then we take out the rabbits here. They're going to draw a card off of it. We ink the Minnie Mouse, and then we're going to replay Aladdin. This is, I believe, the 3rd lore drain. So instead of being at 11, they're at 8. And we're going to go ahead and Quest with the Queen, which in hindsight is a mistake because it opened itself up to being Mim Fox. And that card is just too valuable to draw me cards when I know I'll be challenging my opponent's stuff. And if anything, just tapping it down if they try to ready it because I play big Elsas. So sure enough, the opponent once again is able to protect their Maleficent and drop the Mim Fox to take out my Queen. But they clear their board. They do have 6 cards in hand, which is a little bit of a concern because Aggro can just dump their hand on field, but we do have that Be Prepared as backup. And now we just basically have full control of the match. We redrop the Aladdin. That is 4 lore drained. They're back on to 9 instead of being on 13. They drop Goat and Pinocchio. And I think they just pass here without inking. Yep. And we draw a second Yzma, which one of those is going to get inked for sure, so that we can drop this Elsa and just completely shut down the tempo of the game, or take it over, I guess, from the opponent. And now, see, if I had the Queen up still, I could have drawn 2 off of this, right? So that's unfortunate. But we've taken away our 5th lore now with Honest John triggering with the Elsa play. The opponent has an insanely powerful follow-up, though, with Hades, getting back Arthur and replaying Arthur. And this card can just bounce back the Hades, and, you know, they can just loop the Hades that way, too, which is crazy. Thankfully, we get the Teeth and Ambitions, and we're able to put 2 damage on the Elsa in order to take out the Hades so that we can then drop the Tremaine, which forces the out on the Arthur, once again clearing the opponent's board. Didn't need to sing the Teeth in hindsight, but it's fine if I did. The Aladdin is fine to be exerted. I'm kind of hoping to get a Shift Aladdin onto it, but if we don't get that this match, that's fine. The Honest John is going to stay ready. We don't want to risk the opponent playing a low drop and then Mim Foxing it in order to take out the Honest John. But off this Tremaine, we are going to be able to once again claw back another lore. So I think I claw back, yeah, 2 lore because I snake bounced it, replayed it. So that's what, 7 or 8 lore that we've clawed back at this point. It's absolutely crazy. So yeah, I think the opponent would have been on 19 here, right? Because if it was 8 lore, or this is the 8th one that we clawed back. So like +8 the opponent, or +9 now, the opponent would have been on 19 or something like that. And they just would have won the game this turn, right? I would have lost. But because I was able to claw back all that lore, we have game on board. Kind of sucks that I didn't draw the Aladdin until it was kind of irrelevant, but it definitely would have played a huge role whether or not I shifted it or used it with Pocket Watch. But that's going to wrap it up for this video because, yeah, we have game on board. Let's go ahead and take a look at the second match. Okay, this match is also kind of insane in my opinion, and if you were hoping to see Blue Fairy, this is the match you're going to see it in, because I didn't see it at all in that last match, which is kind of funny. And same with the Aladdin, right? I never saw it until the very end. But yeah, going first, we're just going to go ahead and ink a Maui and pass. The opponent reveals Amber cards, inking a Surfer Stitch and playing a Queen. Unfortunately, we have to ink one of our friends on the other side, but with this setup, we don't even care because you saw how much lore we were able to claw back with that Honest John. Now you're just going to be able to tag on drawing cards on top of that. With Evasive too, this Blue Fairy is protected from being challenged unless the opponent has an evasive character themselves. And so we are just rolling at this point. Maleficent being able to draw a card. The opponent is playing pretty well on curve here, but if they don't have any card draw, they're running out of resources quite quickly. So back to us, we're going to sing the other friends on the other side, ink one of the Aladdin since we have 2, quest with the Blue Fairy, and then Mim Fox back the Maleficent so we can take out Simba. If it's one thing I'm happy that Mim Fox is in this game for, it is to deal with those Simbas. But the opponent can't really do anything with the Queen, and they reveal their second color now in Ruby, and I'm just like, oh, this is the Mufasa deck that was on top of the Pixelborn ladder for a couple of weeks or whatever. It's a very strong deck, but they do rely on their Rapunzel Mother Gothel heal in order to draw. So with that in mind, I'm actually going to cast Teeth and Ambitions here and put 2 damage on my Honest John in order to take out the Mother Gothel. And I sung the Teeth and Ambitions with the Mim Fox, and I'm going to drop the Queen. And so the reason I did that is because the Queen is not going to challenge my Mim Fox, and they're not going to be able to take out my Mufasa without trading with their queen anyway. So it was totally safe there, in my opinion, playing or singing Teeth and Ambitions there so that I could drop queen with the extra 2 ink. The opponent reveals a Lady Tremaine, so we just out the Mufasa. We can continue to quest with the blue fairy here, and sad that I inked the second Aladdin there, but these are just more important to play. So now that I have both a Honest John and the blue fairy up, we're going to claw back that lore, draw a card, and out one of the opponent's card with the Lady Tremaine. You can just see how much advantage we're building. The opponent is on nothing. They can't even get their Surfer Stitch off now, and so at this point I'm just in total control. I have the Shift Queen and I have an Elsa to tap things down. Like, yeah, we are just golden. But at this point I don't think I need the Teeth and Ambition, so I ink it here, and I believe I'm going to drop a queen and a Madam Mim Snake. Yeah, so Snake bounces back Tremaine, and then I drop queen, which once again will draw me a card and take a lore away from the opponent. And I just pass turn. Now the opponent, if they attempt to quest or do anything that exerts their characters, my queen will draw me even more cards. But it's fine if you don't quest or anything, because I have Elsa to completely tap down your board and get all of my advantages off. And you can just see how this deck is absolutely just dominating, doing the regular Ruby Amethyst things, but also just kind of, yeah, getting that extra advantage off Fairy and Honest John. So that's going to do it for this video. I have a few more matches recorded with this deck. Like I said in the beginning, I think I had like 5 or if not 7 matches now, and I haven't lost yet with this deck. It's actually outperforming my expectations by a mile. But if you've made it this far in the video, make sure you drop a like. Thank you again for watching. Quantum is out.